Listen up. A shocking 90% of people who think they own silver don't. They own a promise, a digital entry in a ledger, a claim on metal that simply doesn't exist. And when this system breaks, and trust me, it will break, these people are going to lose everything, all while thinking they were protected. Something is very, very wrong with the silver market, and I'm going to show you exactly what's happening. Right now, silver buying is at an all-time high. Retail demand, it's exploding. Investment demand, it's through the roof. And yet, what do we see? The US Mint has suspended Silver Eagle production multiple times. Dealers are reporting 4 to 8 week delivery delays. And premiums? We're seeing premiums of 40%, even 60% above the spot price. So let me ask you a simple question. If everyone is buying silver, why can't anyone actually get any silver? Here's the answer most people don't want to hear. What 90% of buyers purchased isn't silver, it's a receipt, a database entry, a promise from a bank. And there is absolutely nothing behind that promise. Does that sound like ownership to you? Because it shouldn't. You need to understand there are two silver markets, not one. Two. First, you have the paper market. This is your ETFs, your futures contracts, your unallocated accounts. Think of them as casino chips. They're digital bets, promises that may never ever be delivered. Then you have the physical market. This is the real deal. Coins you can hold in your hand, bars you can stack in your safe. There's no counterparty risk, no middleman, no need to trust us. It's just you and your metal. Now, these two markets are supposed to be connected. The paper price should reflect the physical reality, but right now, they're completely disconnected. The paper market says silver is around $32 an ounce, but the physical market? It's saying you can't have any, sometimes at any price. One of them is lying. And here's the critical mistake that 90% of people are making. They bought the promise, and promises break. So, which side are you on? The paper promise or the physical reality? Let me show you the evidence, because this isn't just theory. Let's look at the COMEX registered silver inventory. This is the silver supposedly available for delivery. It's currently around 32 million ounces. That's down a staggering 65% from its peak in 2021. But here's the truly terrifying part. For every single ounce of real physical metal in those vaults, there are over 400 ounces of paper claims against it. Let that sink in. 400 different people think they own the exact same ounce of silver. What do you think happens when they all ask for it at the same time? 399 of them will get nothing. And if you think this is just a hypothetical, look at the Perth Mint scandal. They were caught selling allocated silver that wasn't actually there. Customers who thought they owned metal had to wait over a year for delivery of something they had already paid for and supposedly owned. Or look at the SLV ETF, which has been caught delivering bars with incorrect serial numbers, bars that didn't even match their own records. This is not some wild conspiracy theory. This is documented, verifiable fact. And here's the part that 90% of investors just don't understand. You won't know you've lost everything until it's far too late. The day the paper silver market finally collapses, the game is already over. There will be no warning. The music will just stop. Now, let's talk about who created this system. It was the Bullion banks, giants like JP Morgan and HSBC. These are the same institutions that claim to store silver for millions of people, while simultaneously leasing out that exact same metal 10 times over. Here's how the scheme works. They sell you a database entry, a digital promise of silver, then they take the actual real metal and lease it out to someone else. They collect storage fees from you and they collect leasing fees from the other party. They get paid from both sides. But when the music stops, you're the one left without a chair. Think about it. China doesn't buy paper ETFs. Russia isn't buying into pool accounts. India is draining over 30 million ounces of physical silver from the global market every single month. What do they all have in common? They take delivery. They hold the physical metal. They understand the difference between owning a promise and owning an asset. This is not an accident. This system is designed this way. They want you in paper. Because paper is controllable. Physical metal is your exit from their system. It's your financial freedom. So what does all of this mean for you right now? Well, if your silver is in your possession, in your hands, you've already won. You are in the 10%. Do not be tempted to sell your physical holdings into these paper market manipulations. You hold the very thing the system fears. You hold real wealth. But if your silver is in an ETF or a pool account, you need to ask yourself one simple question. Can I take delivery? And if the answer involves a team of lawyers, a mountain of paperwork, or significant delays, you own nothing. You own a liability. You need to convert that paper into physical metal now. Dealers are already reporting 4 to 8 week delays today. At the current drain rate, the COMEX registered inventory could be empty in as little as 45 days. The window to act is closing fast. Soon, there won't be any physical silver left to buy at any price. The paper market will crash because, in a crisis, nobody wants a promise. The physical market will disappear because, in a crisis, everybody wants a real asset. The 90% will be left holding worthless contracts. The 10% will be holding real, tangible wealth. Which group will you be in? Let me leave you with this final thought. 90% of people made the easy choice. They clicked a button on a screen. They bought a ticker symbol. They put their trust in a bank. The other 10% made the hard choice. They paid the higher premiums. They patiently waited for delivery. They held cold, hard metal in their hands. When this paper house of cards inevitably collapses, the 90% will discover their silver was never real to begin with. There are 3 types of people watching this video right now. The first type is scared. They hear this information and they freeze, unsure of what to do. The second type is confused, or maybe in denial. They tell themselves, it's probably fine, this has been going on for years. But the third type? They understand. They see the writing on the wall, and they take action today. Which type are you? You clicked on this video because you already suspected something was wrong. You need to trust that instinct. The 10% who will be protected aren't lucky, they're prepared. Subscribe to Financial Joe Alert and make sure you hit that notification bell. I'll be sharing more crucial updates as the situation develops. Remember, paper is a promise. Physical is truth. The 90% have already made their choice. Now it's time for you to make yours. See you in the next one.